There's a storm brewing out there, but it's not the type of storm you're thinking. The winds are like the Democrats, coming to thrash and destroy, trying to dig up everything you did as a kid, trying to make your finding of yourself as a young man something that you should have already known when you were born. We don't even know where this is going now. But all I gotta say is, any boy who decides to date a liberal left-wing nut woman now, that's like shooting yourself in the foot. Don't just walk away. You gotta run away. You gotta run away fast. MAGA! So I was just informed today how bad I'm getting hit by tariffs, and I didn't even know it. You know, right now the lobster price, due to a lack of, there's not as many lobsters we'd like to see, but you're still making a paycheck. Lobster price is higher than I've seen in a long time off the boat. That's, I mean, that can't be denied. We got Shelly Pingree over here telling all the uninformed Mainers that don't even care about fishermen that, oh, you should care about fishermen because they're getting hurt. And of course, all the people she's speaking to, they're not fishermen, and they don't even know them. They don't even care to. And they probably don't even like them. But it's good victim status, like we're these big victims that you need helping. We don't need your help. What we need, though, is for people to wake up and realize that these Democrats are giving all the rest of us fishermen a bad name. There's, of all the fishermen I know, there's probably, I mean, of the dozens that I talk to all the time, I bet only 2 voted in this whole election. When asked, what would you have done, Hillary or Trump, everyone's, oh, Trump, he's the man, yada, yada. And yet none of them got out and voted. I mean, this is a total untapped demographic that people don't even realize. The coast of Maine is being underrepresented to the max fullest. If you look at the counties that won in Maine, you got like 95% of the state of Maine is red. Then you got this little bleep, and somehow that created more votes than the whole state of Maine. That's a joke, for one. Not to say that that isn't a possibility, but that's a joke, because when you take all the people who live in Maine directly affected on the coast, and you take all the fishermen, say there's 3,500 active fishermen, I think it's around there, 4,000, and every one of them has a family, so say 2 or 3 more people, then their crew, that's another guy or 2, maybe 3. Each fishing boat, we could say, would represent 10 people immediately just from the boat that are affected by it. So now we're at 35,000 people. Now those people all have families, and all their families, you know, they're all thinking the same thing, like, hey, we gotta watch out for the fishermen, we gotta do this and that, but they're all not voting too. So you got those 35,000, say, just a small guess, and then the, you know, 10 or 15 people that it's just a spider web out. We got about 500,000 people on the state of Maine that are directly affected by fishing, and the only people that are out there trying to end everything we're doing are these liberal Democrats. It's these pink pussy hat wearing jokesters that now they're gonna have a friggin' a dead whale hat, or a dead turtle hat, or a dead lobster monument. Who would ever think of doing that? That would never happen. Oh, did you realize that's what they want to do? We got Chicago joke bags running around dodging bullets to get to here just so they can protest what we create, which is one of the best marketed lobsters in the whole world, a Maine lobster. Everyone wants that. And they're down here protesting why we got to be worrying about the dead lobsters. It's what happens when you eat them. They're dead. It's what happens when they die. They die. It's just a joke. But in the end, we got about, like I say, about 500,000 people that aren't even voting. Because I know 95% of people I talk to could easily, given a choice, the problem is they're successful, and it's hard to be angry and successful at the same time. Why do you think all these Democrats are so angry? For one, they're not as successful and they can't cheat the system anymore. And for two, they're just angry people, and it's hard to even want to be like that. So when all these fishermen are getting yelled at by these Democrats, why you gotta be mad, we get home at the end of the day and we're thinking, dude, I was already mad at 10 people today. I don't need to keep being mad. What they gotta realize is there's a whole party out there that isn't mad. We're enjoying the success of the country, and we're enjoying the fact that in America, you can be your own boss, decide your own times, your own schedule, and no creep is going to tell you what to do. And guess what? When we don't like them on the boat, we tell them to take a flying fuck, and we don't care when they're crying about it. We don't do any of that shit. There is no sexual assault allegations 20 years ago of what I did on a boat or not. That's a joke. We got to stop this, and we got to crush it right into the ground before it's just going to spread, and it's only going to get worse. We're starting now with, you can have allegations of 40 years ago. I mean, when does ex post facto come into the year to where, like, you can't even say, oh, well, back in the day, women didn't get to do this, or men or anything was treated differently. If this starts now, the way we're going with sexual allegations, because someone regrets being a whore maybe 1 or 2 times, well, I don't regret every time I did that shit, but what am I going to go do? Attack every ugly girl I don't like anymore? That's a joke. But what are we going to do now also? Every crime that happened in the 50s, now those people that are still alive, if it was against a black and a white, that's a hate crime, and now they got to be locked up. Where does this end? Does anyone realize what type of Pandora's box you're opening up with bringing up allegations of things under a minor? What are they going to take Kavanaugh and charge him while he's an adult as a minor? Are we going to go hashtag Kavanaugh for juvie? Now imagine if every day you went to your office, some days it was fucking raining, other days you were really hot and sweaty. Other days the floor was going like this. Some days you get snowed out. Sometimes you can't see 5 feet in front of you. We've untapped the biggest tap in the Maine coast there is. We've already turned around, I think it was for the first time we ever split districts, which everywhere you go up in the Maine, well, we call it the west part of Maine, not the East Coast, obviously. But up in the boondocks, those fucking people have had signs up there, 8x10 fucking signs in their yard. I couldn't even drive 10 feet without seeing a new Trump sign, and I felt overwhelmed when I was up there. You know, you go to the casino, you're going to see it because it's everywhere. We get down to this little part of our coast, and we're so underrepresented because complacency. I don't know how to even say the word, because guess what? I don't get paid to know these words. I don't get paid to know how to type everything on Twitter. Know what I get paid to? I go out and I catch lobster, and then I go sell them for the guy who's got the highest bid, and I go make my money. That's how I do it. On a small group of people that follow it from the Maine coast. Like I said before, there's about, you know, I know a lot of people. I don't even want to put a number. I know tons and tons of people. I'm a popular person. I know everybody. But what I do know is that most of them didn't vote. They didn't think that it mattered, and they didn't think your one vote did. But what I can do tell you is that during the election, I was spending my money, putting out signs, doing whatever I could, fighting the battle of all the fucking losers stealing our signs and writing stupid shit off them. And I kept putting it out there, and I kept giving away free signs. And I probably made 14 Trump voters that weren't going to vote just because they didn't think it mattered. And I put those votes in. But know what I did see? This town is one of those small type of towns that you know everybody. We're in East Bumfuck. You know everyone. When I went to the voting booth in November, now, this is vacation land. How many people take a vacation in Maine in November? None. 1, no snow. 2, no sun. Why are you here? You're not here. There ain't even leaves anymore. So the only reason you're here is you're a bottom dweller. And you're here to change the vote. I asked the woman at the voting thing, I said, hey, what's with all these out-of-state voters? I mean, I saw Washington, California, this and that. These people are not chilling in Maine in November. It ain't happening. And they're all there. And I said, this is bullshit. Like, I said, what are you doing to counteract voter fraud these days? And this woman, nice as she is, fucking 90 years old, and she looks at me and she says, I don't really think anyone would actually do that. And I said, wait, so that's what we got? That's what we're running on? Well, yeah, I mean, there's no way to just stop someone. I said, so they can vote in their own town, send an absentee ballot in their own town, then come to their summer house, because they're doing so bad under the economy that they have a summer house, and then they can vote again. She's like, well, I don't think people would go out of their way to do that. That's what we're up against, fishermen around here. It ain't Republicans shutting down this whale bullshit. We all know about the whale bullshit. All these different friggin' rules with the float rope, all this stuff. You know who's done it? It's all Democrats. NOAA, PETA, whale rights activists, any activists against us. It's always the left. Why are you sitting back? And I'm not trying to fucking call people out like I'm so smart, because I'm not. I'm not the smartest thing that ever walked, and I'm not going to pretend. But I do got my shit together enough to know that, A, there's our money is out there, and B, there's people here trying to stop us, and C, they don't even live in Maine. What are we doing? We're giving away our state. We're not going to let them. Do you know in a town of Cushing, a few months ago, and you better put this on out there and look it up, they had a vote against some stupid thing that was like new structure vote in town. What they ended up rewording was they didn't like the way people's houses looked with all these shitty like barns and stuff being built for the yards and stuff. So what they did is they said that they're trying to protect the land value of a town, so they don't want you to be able to put up shitty structures. Well, shitty doesn't mean it could be a nice structure. It just means any other structure. They made it so you cannot build a garage in the town of Cushing. Look it up right now. For I don't know how many months, maybe a couple years now, a restriction of you can't even build in your own house because they said they're saving ourselves from us. And it's all these out-of-staters that come here and don't like it. The same out-of-staters that tried to push a vote in Port Clyde that we shouldn't be able to start our boats till 4 in the morning, 4:30. Because why are they here? They don't want to be here and be woken up by loud boats. Can you believe that? Can you believe it? And I'm saying, if you want things to be the way you want them, and you've always had them, you need to get off your ass. You need to go vote. You need to go vote Republican. I don't care if you say, I don't agree with everything this guy says. I don't agree with that. You know what every Democrat supports? NOAA, whale rights activists, shutting down the ocean and making it a sanctuary for people who are apparently going to afford underwater tours of the ocean, which they ain't. We are the farmers. We're the ones getting fucked. Now get off your ass, stop smoking so much pot, and get mad. Sometimes you got to get mad. You got to lay off the weed. I can't believe you're not hearing that. Lay off the doobie. Lay off the drugs. It's hard, but you got to get mad. Sometimes you got to get mad, and you got to say, hey, you know what? Fuck you. I'm out here doing my thing, and all you're doing is sitting back trying to make laws of how to make my life harder. Well, there's only one party that's making it harder on you, and that's the Democrats. So get out there and wake up. Wake up and walk away. Walk away from all the drugs. Walk away from the boozing. Walk away from all that shit. You got time for it. But sometimes you got to open your eyes and realize we got Donald Trump here sitting and sacrificing everything he's got for the common man. Because know what he could never be in his life is a common man. He was born like Richie Rich. He just wanted to play with those... He wanted to play with those poor kids, and they didn't want to play baseball with him. That's life, and he can never be that. So don't just put him on this pedestal like he's some shithead because he's rich. You know, these liberals, they all thought they were doing something taboo, like something crazy to be anti-this, anti-that. Now they're all mainstream. They aren't the... what do they call those? The hipsters, all this and that. It's all these people pretending they're a little different than someone else. You're all pretending to be the same person. Know who would be different? Who you grew up as. That would be different. Because no one's like you. But instead you're pretending to be this cliche thing that doesn't make sense because you're pretending to be someone that you're not, that a lot of other people are, because you're all different. That's the Liberal Party. It doesn't even make sense.